PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale doesn't quite roll off the tongue, but after a quick glimpse, you'll get an immediate impression of what it's all about. Challenging Nintendo's superstar stable with a franchise lineup of its own, it brazenly approaches a familiar format with the sole intent of doing it better. It seemingly has all the working parts of a hit in the making, but does it have the hidden corporate magic that makes it all work?
This is true power! Victory! Ready? Fight!
When it comes to bearing its inspirations, this multiplayer franchise fracas hides in plain sight. You'll see more than a few conspicuous nods to Smash Bros., though the developers would rather have you take note of the technical liberties that set it apart. With a concerted effort at bringing combos, counters, and more to the chaotic realm of four-player combat, it's clear that above else, Battle Royale wants to be taken seriously as a fighter. This much is evident in the game's assortment of modes, which resemble that of a traditional fighter. Battle Royale keeps it simple. Tutorial mode gives a comprehensive look at the nuts and bolts of the combat system, while training mode provides a solo venue for self-study and practice. You'll come away with a few ideas for combo crafting thanks to the game's preset list of examples, but you're on your own from there. Save for a couple of drills that hinge on a unique skill, the so-called character trials are redundant and homogeneously constructed. There isn't an in-game move list aside from running through each character's separate skill trials, and the documentation fails to give sufficient insight into the nuances behind the 20-strong cast.
Time for Plan B.
The most disappointing thing, however, is the game's arcade mode. Far be it that story in a fighting game should matter, but given the circumstances, Battle Royale squanders a good chance at promoting itself with shoddily put-together slideshows and scattered rival cutscenes. It's just one of many missed opportunities that seem to ring resoundingly throughout. Where are the bonus games? Or, for that matter, the Team Eco or Final Fantasy characters? And what of the ring-outs, only possible here in a select few stages, that made Smash Bros. Matches as exciting as they were deadly? With supers being the sole method of eliminating enemies in the game, combat takes a certifiably different tempo. The prominence of environments is diminished in importance, and the minute-to-minute fighting is more about passively hoarding AP than actively engaging enemies in a perilous dance of survival. Getting hit is almost of little importance, much less towards the extremities of each stage that keep you safely housed in. The tedious cat and mouse game from one-on-one stock or kill matches further exposes the seams in Battle Royale's approach, which could explain why timed matches that force a win state are the default choice. They all seem like small deviations at first, until it becomes apparent that the game has veered into a direction that discourages the incidental charms that define the format it's trying to play in.
Playtime is over.
Toughing it out in whatever game mode you choose unlocks some customizable elements to play around with, ranging from banners and icons to minions that cheer you on in battle. Sticking with individual characters long enough gives you a host of small perks, and most notably, a single alternate outfit. At the very least, it isn't DLC, and SuperBot's plans for such appear equally generous. 2 upcoming DLC characters will be available for the first 2 weeks free of charge. You can play past the bounds of your couch provided you've got an online pass. Network play misses out on modern amenities like lobbies and replay support, but bears some notable features like season leaderboards and cross-play support with Vita players, of which you might see a considerable number because of the game's cross-buy perk. In our experience thus far, online play was relatively hassle-free, with only a drop or two to speak of. Here's hoping it holds up for those whose only multiplayer options lie in an Ethernet port.
Yeah, I got 3 more kills!
Is unstoppable.
From Parappa and Nathan Drake to the God of War himself, Battle Royale's biggest draw lies in its earnest representations of iconic characters. The game is quite successful at cramming a multitude of signature moves into its combination button and direction control scheme, and even more so when it comes to making these distinct elements feel at home. The results are often surprising, with combo-heavy characters like Kratos, Dante, and Raiden able to pull off the same strings you'd see in their respective games. Characters who've made a less seamless transition into the genre, on the other hand, have been given sensible playstyles to match their varied kit of moves. Our biggest gripe is that these intricately conceived characters always seem to be at odds with the kind of game they're in. There rarely seems to be a moment when you're able to see a full combo through, and with the game's distinct style of player elimination, at times it can almost seem as if you're picking a character based on a single super, rather than their overall toolset. At every junction, there's a flip-flopping identity crisis between its serious side and its casual origins that the game never quite resolves. It's clear that the developers have the right ideas to make an interesting fighter, it just so happens that many of them have been implemented into an incompatible type of game. PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale runs at a consistent clip that doesn't falter under duress. This might just have something to do with the fact that it was built with Vita crossplay in mind. It looks nearly identical across both platforms. Though it can still often look quite good, especially with the more creative stage mashups, an overall dissonance in style also prevents the game from realizing a cohesive, pleasing look. The disconnect between the ultra-detailed Raiden and hideously chibi Spike is just too ridiculous and off-putting to bear. The game also simply struggles to keep its characters and actions legible once the chaos on the battlefield intensifies. With a more deliberately designed fighting system, Battle Royale strives for the sort of cred you'd sooner find in an arcade than a living room get-together. The end result is a serviceable party game that shoots for the stars but ultimately comes up short of its competitive aspirations. In its attempts to take its format in a different direction, it has inadvertently skewed itself away from the fundamentals that would make it work. In the end, you can safely say that Battle Royale is indeed not like Smash Brothers, but it might have been better if it were.
I'm out for revenge.